Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of The Drop Step. I'm your host, Connor Ryan, and here it is, the first episode. This is a NBA-focused podcast. You know, I see it all over TikTok. I see it all over Twitter and Instagram, whatever, and why not talk basketball? You know, a little bit about me. 22. I don't really know what else to say. Just graduated college and looking for a full-time job in sports media. And a lot of the jobs that I was interested in require some experience. And so decided, why not create it myself? I love watching basketball. Why not talk about it? If, other people are able to talk basketball, why can't I? If other people are able to have horrible takes on Twitter, why can't I? So here we are. This is the first episode. It is Tuesday, October 29th. It has been a week since NBA opening night last Tuesday with the Boston Celtics getting their championship rings and hanging banner number 18. Let me get the bias out of the way. I am a Celtics fan. If you want to click off now, be my guest. But please stay. This isn't going to be a Celtics-focused podcast. This is going to be total NBA. Do I have NBA League Pass? No. Do I watch all the primetime games? About 100% the first ones, like the 7 o'clock slot, and then the second one, I tend to fall asleep in like the fourth quarter. But that's fine. It's fine. Okay? We're talking basketball. We're talking the NBA, which is the best brand of basketball there is. And I understand people love college basketball because of the insanity that is college basketball, and it's the same reason why people love college football over the NFL, which I stand in that side where I think college football is better. The NBA is a much more polished product. It is so much more thorough. It is what basketball is meant to be. It isn't something where college is very focused on what can you do for your school, not for you. I think it's beginning to change because of the NIL, but in reality, it's just what can you do to help us win, not what can we do to help you win. I know some programs are trying to shift over to that mantra, but it's just how it is. So we're here for the first episode. There are going to be a few bumps in the road. I'm aware of that. That's what happens when you start something new. The fact of the matter is, you just got to try. Doesn't matter if one person watches it, 10 people, 100, 1,000, 10,000, doesn't matter. You trying, a lot better than just saying, it'd be pretty cool if I could, So, by the time this episode goes out, my blog, thedropstep.com, should be up. That's where you'll find more of my Celtics bias, I guess, come in. I will be, after every game, I'll be posting a blog about the Celtics, how I feel about it, what I noticed, what I saw, and I will also be doing the same for primetime games. So tonight, the 29th, I think it's Mavs at Wolves is the 7 o'clock, and then I think it's Pelicans versus Warriors. I will give my first blog up there, but by the time this episode is out, the blog should be up. Why I love the NBA. Who doesn't? If you're a basketball fan and you get to watch probably minimum, I'd say within the last year, I probably watched 200, 300 games of basketball, and that is awesome. It is just fantastic to see. The league is growing at an incredible rate. Financially, it is the highest it's ever been, and we all know that. Just look at the contracts that have been dealt out. Media deals are at the highest it's ever been, but that also leads to conversation. It also leads to controversy. It also leads to concern. All right? The argument has always been, oh, they're just playing a sport. They're doing something that they love. Why do they get to make millions of dollars? It is the fact that they also provide millions of dollars. Simple as that. I've been a fan of basketball since I was 5 years old, ever since I started playing Saturday League when I was a kid. My dad was my coach, and it just grew from there. My dream when I was a kid was to always, for some reason, was to play college basketball at Duke. instead of the NBA. I always said, no, I just want to play college basketball. I don't want to play in the NBA. But things changed, obviously. I didn't become the 6'7" god that my height chart said I would. I'm 6'1", so a reasonable height. But the fact of the matter is, there is nothing I loved more than watching the NBA, than talking ball. We're talking ball. That's what this podcast is. You'll get to hear me talking on here. You'll get to see my point of view on my blog. Also, if you have any questions that you want to write into me for an episode of the podcast, or maybe depending on the question, I can write out a quick blog for it. Go to thedropstep.com, go to the about section or contact section, and shoot me an email. Shoot me a prompt. Shoot me a question. I would love to answer questions. Please. Any question, no bad questions. I am here to give my take, yet also, if you are a fan of basketball, just help you dive further into it. If you are new to basketball, help you understand the basics, help you understand like what each thing means, like how do certain things happen, whatever. And I know if you are a fan of basketball, it seems very basic, but just how it is. It's the first episode. It's going to be pretty basic. The entire topic of today's episode is power rankings, basically, in tiers of what I think each team is at, and also the biggest question that comes with them. Okay? So, we've had a week. We've had a full week of the NBA. Very happy so far for me. Obviously, the Celtics are 4-0. Biggest things that have stood out. I guess I'll address the elephant of the Celtics. To anybody that has an issue with the Celtics shooting 61 threes and making 29 of them, here's a defend them. You know, it's as simple as that. I understand. The Celtics are at a luxury right now. You have 5 guys. I'd say 90% of the time on the floor, they have 5 guys who can stretch the floor and make a 3-ball. And the craziest part is, which we all know the craziest part, is that they don't have their starting center in Kristaps Porzingis. It's simple as that. Jason Tatum is coming out for blood because of Steve Kerr and what he did. Now, I understand rotationally, I get why he didn't really play a lot in the Olympics, because he's not taking he's not taking KD, he's obviously not going to take Steph, because it's the difference between a point guard and a small forward, but it's the fact that there were moments where he could have been used, obviously. Jaylen Brown left off the team. Revenge tour. And then you just have the stock exchange with Drew and D. White as your backcourt. Like, how could you not have high expectations for this team? Coming off of a championship, you brought everyone back except O'Shea Brissett and Svi, which, no offense to Svi and O'Shea, who I know they would beat me in one-on-one, but it's the fact that they weren't the key guys. Jordan Walsh is developing. Sam Hauser is continuing to show that he is not just a three-point shooter, but also very solid defensively. Peyton Pritchard just had 28 points last night against the Bucks on 8 of 12 shooting, tying Eddie House for the most ever three-point makes off the bench for a Celtics player. Luke Cornett is developing even better as an interior defender, but also showcasing his playmaking ability. The only thing stopping the Boston Celtics from winning the NBA championship is a major injury or a major trade that happens, say, at the trade deadline. LA Lakers, 3-1. They lost last. Is it? Let's double check. I'm pretty sure they're 3-1. It's either 3-1 or 2-1. Might be 2-1 because I know they lost to the Suns last night. They are 3-1. Okay, yeah. Wolves, Suns, Kings, and then lost to the Suns in Phoenix. JJ Redick has looked great. Really, really, really shocked by how well he is controlling this team, by how well he is presenting the offensive game plan and everything like that. the plan is simple. It's not a run through Braun, it's a run through AD. Running it through Anthony Davis is the key. And to anybody, specifically Charles Barkley, because of his take from last year, it was Darvin Ham's fault. The reason the Los Angeles Lakers are performing as well as they are now is because of JJ Redick. He is the reason. He is the focus. He understands that Anthony Davis, with the ball in his hand, creating plays, finding the open three-man, finding LeBron on a cut, is so much more dangerous than LeBron having the ball in his hand, finding AD in the post, finding Austin Reeves in the corner. That's what keeps this offense going. And it's so good to see. It really is. The Mavericks. I'm going to say my take. Over the summer, I said I don't really think Klay Thompson is going to be that much of a needle mover for the Dallas Mavericks. I don't know why I said it, but the simple fact is I did. And currently, the Mavericks are 2-1. Klay had an incredible game on opening night. Really, really talented. And just their first loss was to the Suns, and the Suns have looked very good all year thus far. And I know it's only been a week, but 4 games in a week it's tough for sure. 3 games, 4 games, whatever. Thunder. I mean, you just traded away Josh Giddey, who was a average playmaker and somewhat average shooter, for a defensive nightmare, and Alex Caruso, who's now coming off your bench. Yeah, that's pretty good. There's a reason why they're undefeated. There's a reason why they made the Nuggets look like garbage, which we'll get to them in a bit. But they're so talented. Chandler Parsons said something about like the team atmosphere and how it's like an AAU team. Couldn't agree more. They're all about the same age. They all have the same mentality of wanting to win. They're very much like kind of the Celtics last year, where they were like, all right, you came up short. You got the pieces. You got Isaiah Hartenstein. You got Alex Caruso. Come on, let's see it now. And coming out 3-0. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Bucks. What is happening? Like, it really is Dame and Giannis are playing great. Both of them had 30 plus last night. I think Dame was at 30 and Giannis might have been at 33. Brook Lopez couldn't hit a shot. Taurean Prince couldn't hit a shot. Other than Bobby Portis, their bench looks horrendous. It's just, there are so many pieces. It really does feel like the final year for Giannis in Milwaukee. I don't know what's going to happen to keep him there if he does end up staying there, but it's just Denver Nuggets 1-2, barely squeaked out a win against the Raptors. If it wasn't for the Raptors' choke job in the last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter, or if it wasn't for RJ Barrett missing a 3 at the end of overtime, we're talking about the Nuggets, who were NBA champions 2 years ago. I understand some players have left and some players have gotten a lot more money than they deserve, but it's the fact that this is still the same DNA of this team. Mike Malone is still the head coach. Nikola Jokic is still the best player. Jamal Murray is the number 2. Aaron Gordon is the number 3 option. Michael Porter Jr. is the number 4 option. But it's after that where they really trickle down and kind of become a much weaker team in total. Yeah, I mean, just those are kind of the quick initial thoughts. Cavs look really good. I mean, Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell figured out like how to work in tandem with one another, and also so did Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley, by the way, looked incredible the first night. He was like stepping out from 3, taking a lot of shots, which was great. 76ers, what's happening? Like, really? We need to have an investigation probing into you playing Joel Embiid. I saw a thing. I saw a thing on Twitter. I saw a tweet. Sorry, X, whatever. And it was Joel Embiid is like scheduled to not play in the first 3 games, and then it was like they showed the 4th game on the schedule and it was the Pistons, and it's just like, when are people like gonna stop looking? Like, obviously, like, skill wise, one of the most talented players in the NBA. I'm not doubting that whatsoever. I love watching Joel Embiid play basketball. Who wouldn't want to watch a 7'1", like 270-pound monster step back from 3, but then also pump fake drive to the lane and dunk on you? He is so talented. He has such good footwork. It's literally just the injuries. It is the injuries that are stopping him. And then you go out, sign Paul George to a massive deal, which kudos to them. That was the right move to do. Last game of preseason gets hurt. And that sucks. That sucks to see. Like, the issue with them is just, can they stay healthy? So, just first week, I know that we have about 78 to 79 games, depending on your team. If you only played 2, then you have 80 more. In-season tournament is coming up, which obviously builds a lot of rejuvenation, allows momentum to come into a thing. By the way, to the person who said momentum is not a thing in sports, you are wrong. Flat out. Momentum is a thing. Accept it. We saw that with the Pacers last year. The Pacers were about a 500 team. They went into the in-season tournament, almost won it. They beat the Celtics in Indiana. They beat the Pacers, or they beat the Bucks multiple times. One during like group play, and then the other during the semifinals. That propelled them into great momentum. They were the toughest matchup for the Bucks all year. The Bucks went 1-4 before the playoffs, obviously, and then look what happens in the playoffs. Obviously, barring injuries, and then they beat the Knicks, barring injuries. And then they lose to the Celtics. Sure, they get swept, but it was easily the toughest matchup the Celtics had all playoffs. Well, the Celtics didn't play. I don't care. We got a ring. Okay. Main focus. This is where I see the tiers of teams after the first week of the NBA. Real quick, we're going to kick it over to our sponsor. Today's sponsor is Nobody. It's the first episode. If you want to sponsor me, it'd be pretty cool. You don't have to. I'm just shooting my shot. Anyway, so I have 7 tiers of teams. Let's get it right into it. Tier 7, we're going to start from worst, work our way up. Tier 7, CTF, Capture the Flag. Operation Cooper Flag. We all saw the clips. We all saw how talented he was during the select, being a member of the select group for USA men's basketball this summer. 6'9", can jump out of the building, freakishly athletic, very good defensively, long, strong. Develop that 3-point shot. He's going to be the best American player in, I'd say, 5 years. Crazy take? Maybe. Anyway. Tier 7, Brooklyn Nets. I want Cam Thomas to average 50 this year. That's what I'm hoping for. I hope he consistently averages 50 points a game, because that'd be really cool to see. Just let Cam Thomas shot chuck and just get the best odds for the number 1 pick. They clearly are showing that they don't think they'll be in contention for the playoffs this year by trading away Mikal Bridges. By the way, we'll get into that later. Ben Simmons, I don't think he'll be on the Nets next year. I actually do think that he will be of interest for a lot of teams, specifically as obviously like a backup point guard, because of his size and his playmaking ability. We all know he can't shoot. We all know he can't really do a lot of things offensively. And it's just the fact that saying, hey, facilitate the ball and play good defense. The reason why he's still on the Nets right now is because of his contract. I think he's making like $40 million this year, which is up there with like Timofey Mozgov like level contract of how bad it is. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Shout out my friend Zach though for the Nets. And we'll kick it over to his other team, the Detroit Pistons. You know, I have the Pistons in this tier only because of the aspect of, will they win a lot of games? No. Are they better on? Are they better than they actually perceive to be? Yes. Do I think Tobias Harris was the best move? Probably not, especially for the amount of money that you gave him. I'm glad that it's on more of a year-friendly deal. It's not. I think it's a 3-year deal. Let me double check this. But the tandem of Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham is so okay. 2-year deal, perfect. That's a perfect moniker. If you get Cooper Flag, Tobias Harris, play like a veteran role. Not saying Tobias Harris is crazy good, but have him in a veteran role. Have him in a situation where he's like, hey, this is what the league is like. Help bring him in, everything like that. If you have a top 3 of Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Cooper Flag, and then Jalen Duren is your 5, that's pretty good. Malik Beasley could be your 3, or like find like another 3. I don't know who. I think Tobias would be your 3 for next year. Tell me that's not a fringe play-in team. And then that team is just gonna develop. It'd be pretty fun to watch. I mean, they just played the Celtics, and they kept close. Like and it was like this last year. They were on their 26th potential loss, or it was like right after they just broke the streak for most amount of losses. I think it was 27. And they went to Boston, and they had a 20-point lead in the second quarter. And then they obviously lost that game, but they're a talented team. They really are. I think JB Bickerstaff is going to really get that team ready for the future. I think they will be a whole lot better of a team than people will realize. The Wizards. Can Alex Sarr figure out if he wants to... It was the same question with Wemby last year. Can Alex Sarr figure out if he wants to be Joel Embiid or Kevin Durant? Alex Sarr, I think, has made like 2 threes all year on like 14 attempts. Let me pull this up, actually. Yeah, he's shooting 20% from 3. I'm going to say it. That's not good. That is really not good. He is 7 feet tall. How are you not standing in the post, posting up? You have, like, I understand he is more than just a low post player, but I'd say develop the post game, get stronger, and then continue to work the outside. Bilal Coulibaly looks a lot better than he did last year. He's making great strides offensively. Defensively, we knew he was going to be a threat. Jordan Poole looks like he wants to win games, which is awesome. I love Jordan Poole. I think he is incredibly talented. He's a great shooter, and he is very much in the same regard of Cam Thomas, where it's like, if you let him get hot, he's a flamethrower. But then you have to work with Kyle Kuzma, and that is really difficult to do. Kuzma, like, he hasn't looked good at all. And I know he got suspended for the smoking weed, and he got suspended for smoking weed, and because of the 3 air balls. It looks like he's smoking weed most games. Like, he is not playing well. He is not. And I think it will be primarily between the Nets and the Wizards for Cooper Flag. And I really hope Cooper Flag does not go to the Wizards. I really hope not. No offense to Washington. The Blazers. Anthony Simons, I think, has the potential to be like all-star numbers, but not really all-star caliber player. Scoot Henderson has to figure it out. His entire year last year, he was just not playing well. He was not handling the ball well. It was just a tough watch. I think Jeremy Grant is going to be a great, I think he's doing a great job leading that team in terms of just what their message is, what their morale is, and kind of that aspect. I think Donovan Clingan is also going to be a huge piece for them. So imagine a tandem with Donovan Clingan and Cooper Flag, or hell, Donovan Clingan, Ace Bailey, Donovan Clingan or Dylan Harper. My note for the Blazers: just get a top 3 pick. That's all. That's all I need from you. Yeah, I mean, main question for the Pistons is just how are you guys like going to develop Jaden Ivey even more? Monty Williams did a horrible job with Jaden Ivey last year. There were literal times where he decided Killian Hayes was the better option. Killian Hayes is currently in purgatory in Brooklyn. So, for the Nets, just can we let Cam Thomas score like 70 a game? That'd be pretty cool. Or at least like 70 shot attempts. So that would be like a high school game, and it's like a 5-star recruit against like a D, like an all D. Like, imagine if it was like Cam Thomas in high school. Actually, well, Cam Thomas went to Oak Hill, so that example really wouldn't work. But imagine if it was like Cam Thomas as a 5-star with like a bunch of bums and against like Montverde. Just like let him shoot, like let him be the offense, and then just like dap up all the players after the game. Be like, dude, that was crazy. He's like, yeah, man, just like he's like the AI version of Kawhi. AI play style, Kawhi lifestyle. Just saying. Wizards, Alex Sarr, figure it out. Figure out if you want to be a 3 or a 5. Simple as that. Yeah. Tier 6, high lottery. Charlotte Hornets, Atlanta Hawks, Utah Jazz, Toronto Raptors, and the San Antonio Spurs. I know that is interesting. But it's a simple fact of this. All right. I'll start with the Spurs because I feel like that's the most controversial. How are they not like a fringe team? How are they not like a play-in team? It's because I think Victor Wembanyama is still trying to figure out what his role is with the team. Chris Paul is clearly just playmaking. He's not really trying to score. He understands that he is Devin Vassell. He knows he has Keldon Johnson. He knows that he has Wemby and Stephon Castle and everything like that. Speaking of Stephon Castle, love that pick for the Spurs. Chris Paul will probably be on this team most 2 years, and then I sadly think he's going to retire. Stephon Castle is going to be your playmaker. Why not have the greatest playmaking point guard in my generation to nurture him and get him ready for the NBA? I don't know. That's a pretty good idea. That's just my thoughts. Jeremy Sohan. I feel the same way about Jeremy Sohan the way I felt about Kosta Koufos for a very long time. I don't like him. I really don't. There were times last year where Jeremy Sohan would have the ball in his hands. Wemby would literally be wide open on the block, and his first move would be like, I'm going to drive. I'm going to score. I don't have a lot of trust for the guy who's changing his hair color every minute and shoots free throws one-handed. And I know what you're saying about the hair. Dennis Rodman was a completely different animal than Jeremy Sohan, and he knew he couldn't shoot, so that's why he was really good at defense. What is Jeremy Sohan not incredibly good at? Defense. Boom. There's the difference. The Hornets. Trey Mann is my favorite player in the NBA right now because he is the swaggiest person in the NBA. Everybody can take Anthony Edwards. I want Trey Mann. No, but that Hornets team is really fun to watch. Trey Mann and LaMelo Ball as your backcourt. That is awesome. Brandon Miller, who I think got injured. Let me double check that. Overall, just a very, very good team. Just a lot of fun to watch. And, just really, really good. Yep. Okay. He was injured. Let's see what he would, on Friday, the team announced that Miller would miss a week with the injury and would be reevaluated in 1 week. The week timeline is vastly approaching, which led to Coach Lee offering the first update since the injury. It seems to be a glute strain, so a butt injury. Shout out Charles Lee, former Celtics assistant, GOAT. It's a fun team, man. Also, when you have a team that wants to succeed and you have an announcer like that, like I think it's like once a week the Hornets announcer is getting a clip that's just like going viral, and it's awesome to see. I think LaMelo is so good. My question for them: what's the next step? Is the next step going to get somebody? Is the next step going to trading, or are you banking on the fact that you're going to get a draft pick? I feel like there has to be a piece that comes in. And I think that kind of comes in with like development of talent. Obviously Brandon Miller, we see what he can do. We know what LaMelo can do. We're starting to scratch the surface with Trey Mann. If those three can work well with one another, then I think that's what will entice somebody to come in and work with them to drive them over the top. But we shall see. The Atlanta Hawks, I loved the trading away DeJounte Murray. That allows the ball to be in Trae Young's hands even more, who the other night got 35 and 10. And I also saw a clip. Scal was on Game with Names, the podcast with Julian Edelman, and he was like, my son doesn't watch or he was like, I told my son to not stop watching Steph Curry, but to only focus on Trae Young. And it was like footwork, the way he approaches ball screens, the use of ball screens, his playmaking ability. Trae Young it's crazy, the dialogue of top 5 point guards, which will be a completely different episode, like top 5, top 10 per position. And I know people will have hate for me on that. Like, it's like Luka, Shea, Curry are the clears. Then it's like Brunson. I have Trae Young 5. I understand Tyrese Halliburton is there. I understand he's a person, and I understand he's alive. Playmaking, sure, Halliburton might be a little bit better. But I also want some scoring from my point guard, and I think Trae Young is a more efficient or a better scorer. I wouldn't always say more efficient, but we also saw Tyrese Halliburton put up a goose egg the other night. So there you go. My question for them: what's next? As well, you know, are you trying to get somebody big? Are you trying to just take a year and just reevaluate a little bit? Is Trae Young gonna have just like a crazy year and you're fine if they lose every game? Also, can Clint Capella score? I think Dyson Daniels. I know this is very jumpy. That's just how I am. Dyson Daniels, I think, was a great pickup for them. Defensively, we saw his talent in the Pelicans. With the Pelicans, that is. And yeah, I just think he now has more opportunity to score because he doesn't have a lot of guys who take a lot more shots than him. And, well, that's just great to see. The Utah Jazz. Shout out Will Hardy, another former Boston Celtic assistant coach. Shout out Danny Ainge, my GOAT. Thank you for everything you have given me. Walker Kessler, I think, is a dark horse for Defensive Player of the Year. You heard it here first. You probably didn't hear it here first, but that's just my opinion. Jordan Clarkson really has revived his career in the last 2 or 3 years with his ability on the Jazz. And it's really great to see. Colin Sexton, I think, is getting chances that he deserves. Keontae George is a very exciting young guard in the league. And the Finnish freak that is Lauri Markkanen. I understand that they lost last night. I am going to pin it slightly on Lauri because of his really poor shooting. But just a really good team. You know, they're young. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take things like that to develop. It's not going to be something that's just so easy to just fix. And I think out of all the people that they have, Danny Ainge is a pretty good person to have as your higher up, as your leader to drive that force, which is very good to see. My question for them: do you trade away Markkanen for picks? Not or like a young asset and a pick, or just 2 young I feel like the identity of that team. Like I remember, like Lauri Markkanen was on the verge of being with the Warriors, and it's just like, so, oh well, he won't be an unrestricted free agent until 2029, so never mind. He also has a trade restriction that he cannot be traded until February 7th of 2025, which It's basically the trade deadline. So anyway, but yeah, I mean, I just think in terms of certain things, it's just final one for tier 6, the Raptors. Raptors played a great game last night against the Nuggets, which that's another team we're obviously going to be talking about. Scotty Barnes is very much a Draymond Green if Draymond Green was better offensively. Extremely strong defensively, long, freakishly athletic. I would say a little about the same in terms of, maybe a little bit worse in terms of shooting compared to Draymond's prime, but still very intriguing to see where he goes with that. And yeah, Grady Dick, I think, is going to be a very, if he can continue to work on his shooting, I think that'd be great. I still don't get the move. I just giving like a 5-year 175 to Emmanuel Quickley, and then I think I want to say RJ Barrett got about the same. Oh, okay, 4-year 107, but that was with New York. And that was in 22. So he, I think, is on his deal until 26. Yeah. So he's on more of a team friendly deal, but 5-year 175 for Emmanuel, like, that's pretty crazy, you know? It really is. Like I just my big question is just what are they gonna do to help Scotty? They traded away Siakam, they traded away Anunoby. There are a lot of things. Like I'm scared this is gonna become a Chris Bosh situation again. Chris Bosh was a perennial all-star, one of the top 5 power forwards for like the year he was drafted, which was, I think it was the same year as LeBron and D Wade. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was the same year. He was the 4th pick. Yeah, it went Braun, Darko, or no, he was let's see. Yeah, I think he was he was the pick before D Wade. So it went Braun, Darko, Melo, Bosh, D Wade, which sucks to be Darko Milicic, you know. I just don't want it. I just don't want Scotty Barnes to end up in a situation that is the same as Chris Bosh, where he is traded or signs with another team, and it's like, I understand he just got his bag, which I'm very happy for. The funniest player in the league, in my opinion. Him running out onto that court and him running onto the court in that one video still makes me cry laughing. But yeah, I just think in terms of a product of player, Scotty Barnes is one of the best in the league, and it's really, really fun to see. So just Toronto, don't screw it up. That's all I'm asking you. Just don't screw it up. Tier 5, Fringe. These are two teams that I wouldn't be shocked if they're either bad or good. The second one, I'd say I'm seeing the possibility of more good, but the first one very much could flip-flop with either. First team is the Bulls. First off, very happy Lonzo Ball is back. Huge Lonzo Ball fan. I've been watching him since high school. Like my prime watching mixtape, like high school mixtape era, was Lonzo Ball, Josh Christopher, Jalen Green, RJ Hampton, which we don't talk about him now. Tyrese Maxey was in that list. Drew Timme, which, if you want to know just like how long he was at Gonzaga, that's how long he was. I was a senior in high school, or like a junior in high school, and I was watching Drew Timme senior year highlights. Yeah. I graduated college, by the way. That sounded so, anyway. Zach LaVine looks great. Huge fan of him. I'm extremely happy he's healthy. Kobe White, we saw it last year. They're working well together. My question is, can they get a big? I understand Nikola Vucevic is still there, but it's just like, he very much is a dinosaur in the way that his play style, he isn't adapting. He's not, like, Al Horford adapted. That's why he's still playing. Brook Lopez adapted. That's why he's still playing. Yusuf Nurkic is adapting. Like, Vucevic is still, like, a very good player. But at 34 years old, you have to question how much more time does he have? Like, he's, like, so far in the year, 20, 21, and 10, very good numbers. Will that last? I don't know. I don't think so. I think a lot of it is screen and roll action. You know, I'm actually going to refrain from what I just said. I'm looking at those numbers. He is shooting 52.4% from three. So I'm going to back up. Hold up. Wait a minute. I'm wrong. We're back. Patrick Williams, then. Yep, that's my question. Patrick Williams, are you going to step up this year and show that you have scoring ability? Matas Buzelis, are you... how? That's what I'm intrigued to see as well, is how is Matas Buzelis going to showcase in this offense? Kobe White, I know, can play make, and we know he can score. Zach LaVine is going to be a primary scorer, and I think Lonzo will do more playmaking than I'd say scoring, but I know he's also like the defensive lockdown kind of guy. And then you have Josh Giddey, who's also going to score and play make. It's where does Patrick Williams come into this? Are you going to become a defensive anchor? Or are you going to fall behind? And so I still think he was a crazy 4th overall pick. That's just me. My other fringe team is the Clippers. My quick PSA for the year. Clippers, please just don't be a bottom 5 team. I cannot have the Oklahoma City Thunder getting Cooper Flagg or Ace Bailey. Like, they're gonna get a good pick. I understand. If you can stay like afloat during the time that Kawhi is out, it's fine. That's all I need, because Kawhi will obviously help, and I think Harden will probably, obviously, like, his role will slip back, which, by the way, James Harden, bravo. He has been playing incredibly well over the last 3 games, but he has done incredibly well. He is facilitating. It looks like we have a 75% of 2018 Harden. It is awesome to see. I understand in terms of movement and in terms of shooting ability, he isn't as strong, but shout out to him. Shout out to Zubac, who had a crazy night last night against the Warriors. Yeah, with the Warriors. Norman Powell has been playing great so far this year. Kudos to him. Just surprisingly underrated. Terrence Mann, step it up. Simple as that. Question for them is, will Harden revert to a role that he was in Philly, or will he revert to the role that he was in Brooklyn? If he reverts to the role in Brooklyn, I wouldn't be shocked if the Clippers get a top 3 pick. If he reverts to the role that he was in Philly, very much see the possibility that it's like a later top 10 pick, which obviously is still very good. And I know this next draft class is very good. Because I think the true differentiating part that is kind of different than the situation with the Sixers was it was very much just Embiid and Harden going off of each other, which it's kind of tough when the 2 main guys are the pick and roll. Not so much, you don't really have like the driving kick kind of aspect. Well, now you do. If Zubac is in, or Daniel Tice is in, which I think Daniel, unless I'm completely wrong and then I'm going to look like an idiot. Nope, he plays for the Pelicans. That's on me. He'll be added into the Pelican section in a little bit. If you get Zubac working well in that pick and roll, that's going to open up Norman Powell and Kawhi and Terrence Mann for shooting. It's as simple as that. That's like you run a play a couple times, boom. You have to collapse, boom, spacing. That's just how basketball works. Simple as that. And that's great to see from Harden. It's important to have this. It's important to have the aspect of, hey, I have the ability to kick out. You just have to make the shot. But I also have the ability to get it to the big man. I also have the ability to score. If James Harden could do that, 100% could see the Clippers like making a play-in, which should be pretty cool. Speaking of the play-in, tier 4 play-in: Heat, Warriors, Rockets, Pelicans, Pacers, Kings. Okay, Heat. Somebody I know not many people are going to listen to this episode. But I also know the fact that if a Heat fan listens to this, specifically this part right here, they're going to call me a hater. I like kind of like the Heat. Not in that way. I think they have a very good team structure. Eric Spoelstra is clearly one of the best coaches in the NBA. Pat Riley is one of the more experienced and understanding owners. Jimmy Butler, when he is on, he is hot. He is hot. He is fire. And I think Bam Adebayo is the most underrated player in the league. And I know that's like a weird way of putting it, but like top 3 most versatile defender, has the ability to score at all 3 levels, extremely quick, great rebounding, very underrated playmaking. Just overall, a very talented player. My question is, what are like Tyler Hero and like Duncan Robinson and like what are they going to do to elevate? We obviously have seen Hero do it, but like he disappeared in the playoffs last year. And can Jimmy stay healthy? That is the other aspect that I have with this team. Golden State Warriors. Buddy Hield has, how do I put this? Been killing it. He has been on fire for this last week. I'm very excited to watch him play tonight, by the way. Steph Curry is Steph Curry. He's going to get points. Huge fan of Jonathan Kuminga. That's another person I've been watching since high school. He is just a freak. Trayce Jackson-Davis is also a very talented player and very exciting to watch. Again, my question with them is just what's next? Like, I understand, like, with the trade deadline, it's very much just, like, see where we get and then react. If you're going to be a 500 team at the playoff, or at the deadline, it's like, you don't really know what you're going to do. Steph, you just re-signed him for a couple more years. Draymond, I don't think is going to go to anywhere else, but I mean, we said that about Clay, and he's obviously on the Mavs. Andrew Wiggins has at times very good offensive, very good defensive nights, but then also at times he falls off the face of the earth. Podmesky is like the future of that team, and I think he's very solid. I think he's injured right now, though. Let me check. Let me see. No, he is not injured. But he didn't have a good game against the Clippers. Shot 2 of 8, 0 of 5 from 3. Yeah, I'd say that's definitely a Brandon Podmesky. Podziemski, I mean, sorry. Let's get you going. Come on. You say that you're going to be on the Olympic team in 2028. I remember seeing that tweet over the summer. Right now, you got to start proving it. And through 3 games, you're not proving it. You're shooting 33% from the field, 7% from 3, and scoring 6 points a game. It's not very good. Very much a downplay from your season last year, and thus far. The Rockets. Big fan of the Rockets. Alfred Sengun, Jalen Green, as I said, one of my favorite high school mixtape players of all time. I think getting Reed Shepherd for them is huge. Here's why. Fred VanVleet's contract is going, I think, up in a year or 2, and you need a playmaker. Why not have a not as scoring dominant playmaker who is, I'd say, a very efficient 3-point shooter? Reed Shepherd. Boom. There you go. This team is just like, they are growing together. It's like they finally have like, all right, this is our team. Like we understand like what we need to do. Now we build off of it. And I think this is kind of the year where we say, okay, they're building and I'm very excited to see where it goes. Question is the development of I'm so bad at this. It's Amen. Amen Thompson plays for Sar plays for the Pistons. Amen plays for the Rockets. The development of Amen Thompson. Do the Rockets want him to be a playmaker? Do they want him to be a guard? Or do they want him to be like a smaller forward kind of way? Like a 3-4 at times? Because I know defensively he is very strong. Offensively was always the question last year. Like he would have a game where he would have like 14, 13, and 3. Like 14 points on but 7 of 18 shooting. And it'd be like, that just isn't going to cut it. But like people would be like, dude, it was like a great game because you just like locked down like their three. Like he would like lock down Brandon Ingram and I'd be like, all right, Amen Thompson's pretty legit. So, but I don't know. It will be interesting to see for sure. The Pelicans. Sucks that DeJounte Murray went down with a fractured hand. You know, it really does. My question with that team is spacing. Like, Brandon Ingram isn't a primary three-point shooter. CJ McCollum isn't a primary three-point shooter anymore. Zion Williamson is an inconsistent three-point shooter anymore. Herb Jones hasn't been shooting well. Trey Murphy is currently injured. DeJounte Murray is now injured. What's the spacing gonna look like? You lost a huge defensive value in Jonas Valanciunas. Like, sure, like I'm not saying you lost like Dennis Rodman or like Dikembe Mutombo level defense, but it's like having a big of that caliber who is a very prolific rebounder helps a lot. Trey Murphy is out for a little bit of time. Congratulations to him on his new contract, by the way. But it's just the aspect of like, hey, the 3-point game, where's it coming from? If Zion can figure it out, and if he's going to play like center, that'd be pretty cool, but also kind of weird. Herb Jones, big fan of Herb Jones, by the way. Should have been ranked higher on ESPN's top 100, by the way. Just got to keep working with it. And I think when DeJounte comes back, then I think the spacing will be fixed a little bit, but just has to be developed a little bit more. I guess this is kind of a hot take. I have the Pacers here. Did they make the Eastern Conference Finals last year? Yes, they did. Did a lot of things change for them? Not really, no. Like, they got Spicy P a contract. Tyrese Halliburton is still there for a good amount of time. Miles Turner is there. Andrew Nembhard, TJ McConnell just got a deal. With that team, it's just, will they ever improve defensively? And I saw somebody, I can't remember this guy's name, but I saw a TikTok video and it was like, the Pacers are going to give the Celtics defensive problems. They match up really well with the Celtics defensively, even though they are a bad defensive team, because of the aspect of how much they just attack the perimeter. They don't have a lot of paint presence, and like even with Miles Turner, like they kind of like almost like crash only for the three. They primarily focus the three, and it's going to be interesting to see like the bounce off and like kind of the ripple effect of what that does. Obviously, like if you're just going to try and like lock down defensively on the three, it doesn't give a lot of rest and thus. But it's interesting because they're one of the most efficient offensive teams in the league. Had a tough game against the Magic last night, and we'll get to the Magic in a little bit. But they're a good team. I need like another year of Halliburton doing what he did for me to instantly just go like, yeah, he's like a top 5, top 6 point guard or something. I don't know. Sacramento Kings. I thought I thought the move to get DeMar DeRozan was great. Really do. They have two consistent guys from 3 with Kevin Huerter and Keegan Murray. Obviously, De'Aaron Fox and DeMar DeRozan can score from 3, but it's just the aspect of like, hey, that's not their primary shot. De'Aaron Fox is one of the best rim runners, one of the best just downhill playmakers in the league. Domantas Sabonis is right there for the feed and also an incredible playmaker himself from the high post. And DeMar DeRozan, if you face up against him from mid-range, you might as well just run back on defense because he's going to make that too. And then you have Keegan Murray and Kevin Huerter from 3, which is a great offensive system. Beyond that, where do they go? I don't have the greatest knowledge of the Sacramento Kings roster. That's all I'm seeing, kind of. They lost Harrison Barnes to the Spurs, which, by the way, shout out to the Spurs for getting another great vet piece as well who could score well. They have the offensive potential to be last year's Celtics, but they also have the defensive potential to be a stack of hay against a fire. Year 3, playoff teams. First team, the Nuggets. I understand why people are freaking out. I do. But when you have the best player in the world, I feel kind of safe that they're going to be all right. Nikola Jokic is the best player in the world. The next episode, I wouldn't be shocked if it's just me going into my top 10 and kind of in that regard. Actually, I might just throw it in at the end. I'll do top 5 probably. Yeah, it. My big question for them is the 3 guys that just got paid a boatload of money. Are they going to show up? Jamal Murray. I don't know if anybody saw this. Shat the bed during the playoffs, the Olympics, and so far the first 3 games of the year. I understand he had a clutch bucket to force the game to go into overtime. That does not disregard the fact that he shot like 30% from the field. Let me double check this actually. 6 of 20, 0 of 2 from 3. First game against the Thunder, 4 of 14, 2 of 6 from 3. He had a pretty good game against the Clippers, which they lost. 22 points, 7 of 14, 3 of 6 from 3. Efficiency-wise, that is not what you want for somebody that you are paying $200 million over the next couple of years. Yeah, that's not that good. Figure it out. Aaron Gordon, you are doing better than Jamal right now. But take initiative. Drive to the lane. Go to the hole. Like, do something. And Michael Porter Jr., don't take every shot. It's as simple as that. It's like, if he... Like, it is bad. It is becoming an issue of how much he's just shooting. Like I understand the aspect of, like, him having, like, a great shot. 5 of 17 versus the Thunder. 5 of 17 versus the Thunder, 3 of 10 from deep. 4 of 13 against the Clippers, 0 of 6 from deep. 6 of 12 from the field against the Raptors, 1 of 4 from deep. You are shooting high volume, low efficiency. That is what the way that Michael Porter Jr. is shooting is the exact same way that everybody thinks Jason Tatum is shooting. Albeit, this past game against the Bucks, he was not shooting well. But it's just the aspect of, like, you are getting paid a lot of money. Like, a lot of money. You are making $35 million this year. And you're making that amount for the next 2 years, basically. You have 35 this year, 38 the next year, and then 40 the year after, and then you become an unrestricted free agent. I'm going to say it. That's not good. It's not what you want from somebody that you're paying that much for. The Milwaukee Bucks. It's a 2-man show, and then it's everybody else. Brook Lopez has his moments, and so does Bobby Portis. I've been on the receiving end of Bobby Portis terrorizing the Boston Celtics plenty of times. We saw that last year in the 70-30 like whooping that we got in Milwaukee. Other than that, where's your bench? Or where's your other scoring coming from? Gary Trent Jr. has a shot here or there. Taurean Prince has not looked well. I think that was a huge piece for the Lakers getting him off of that team. But yeah, just Giannis and Dame can only do so much, and it's showing. But I think the two of them, Giannis and Dame, that is, the two of them are playing at a much higher level, consistently wise, than they were last year. This is definitely going to ruffle some feathers. Philadelphia 76ers. It's health. My question for them is health. I don't have an issue. I know Tyrese Maxey right now is not playing efficiently. I know he's not shooting the ball at an efficient rate to the status that people want him to be. But it's the aspect of, hey, you're the guy right now. Because the other 2 guys that you were supposed to be the Alfred 2, not so much the Nightwing 2 for a Batman and Robin, the other 2, you're alone out there. So I'm fine with him shooting like 9 of 20, 8 of 20. The shots will be more open. The shots will be more selective when Joel and Paul George come back. It's the aspect of will they be able to stay healthy for the next couple of years? Joel Embiid isn't going to be playing another back-to-back in the entirety of his career. First off, extremely sad and concerning for him. 2, it's not like Paul George has like this impeccable record of not getting injured. He has one of the most gruesome injuries in NBA history, with him like shattering his leg at a USA like select summer run, like exhibition game. And Joel like I don't know if he can walk. He currently has more technical fouls than he does have minutes this year. That is concerning. In 3 games, he has a technical foul from waving a towel during a free throw. He's a child. And it's really, really disheartening to see. So, other than that, though, I think Andre Drummond was a great pickup for them. I really do. Defensively and also rebounding. It's just those three. That's all it is. They don't have a ton of depth. They don't have a ton of workaround. They're relying on Paul George and Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey to all be healthy. And that is asking for a lot. Next team, Los Angeles Lakers. JJ Redick might win Coach of the Year if the Lakers get 50 plus wins. LeBron is 40 years old and playing like he's 32. AD might win MVP this year. Wouldn't be shocked. And Austin Reeves is a corked up white boy with so much swag, and you just can't deny it. He is so fun to watch. The sequence of Anthony Davis blocking Kevin Durant at the rim, missing a shot, Austin Reeves getting his rebound, and then just hitting the most pure jump shot, like to basically like end like a, like to put the exclamation point on like a 20, like to like a 26-8 start for the Lakers was awesome to see last night. My question, D'Angelo Russell, are you going to show up? I'll also give a take after this. D'Angelo Russell for, I'd say like the greater part of like a year has just been extremely inefficient. He has times where D'Angelo becomes D'Lo, and then D'Lo comes back to D'Angelo, and it's just like a really tough watch. And it's because of that you almost like question. You're like, oh, like why don't they put somebody in? I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't trust Max Christie with the ball at all. It's as simple as that. Max Christie is not good. I don't know how he made an NBA roster, but it is what it is. I think the Lakers are a very talented team. I think JJ Redick is leading them in the right direction, and that is saying something coming from a Boston fan. Next team, Memphis Grizzlies. We haven't had a game yet, I think, with Triple J, Ja, and Desmond Bane in the lineup. That team is really good. And with Zach Edey, Brandon Clark, Jay Huff. Like, Jay Huff has been one of the like most important basketball players for the Grizzlies. Congrats to him, first off, on getting a standard 4-year deal. That is awesome to see. But yeah, he's just like, he's playing at a very high rate, very underrated rate, and just doing a great job. Question is for them, same thing, I guess, is health. And also, how are they going to use Zach Edey? Because I see the issue kind of arising. Jay Huff and Triple J, and then you have Zach Edey. Like, is it just going to be Huff and Edey kind of switching off? Is Triple J going to be in that like kind of rotation? Orlando Magic. Whoa. I love this team. If I wasn't a Celtics fan, if I didn't have a deep-rooted hatred of the Orlando Magic from the years of 2008 till 2011, then I wouldn't have a problem. But I do, because of Dwight Howard and those double arm sleeves and the nightmares he has given me. But Paolo Banchero is going to be the next superstar in the league. He is going to take the jump that Anthony Edwards took last year into superstar status, that Paolo Banchero this year. Believe me. If we didn't really see it last night at all, if you didn't, for some reason, if you didn't catch that game of him scoring 50 points on like 60% shooting and having 37 points in the first half of 78% shooting, then you are ridiculous. Paolo Banchero is so talented. Franz Wagner just got a bag from there, and he is incredibly talented. I don't know why. I think it was an injury. Illness. Very sad to see, but Paolo Banchero just decided, I got this. Jalen Suggs, another one that I've been watching since high school. Crazy athletic. Just so good defensively. I mean, that entire team is defensive minded, but it's just like that. And that leads to my question is the generation of offense. I'm starting to see it from Paolo. Will it be a situation with like KCP? That signing was awesome for them. That gives them like spacing, gives them championship DNA, gives them like a veteran presence, which that team desperately needed. But like Wendell Carter, Gary Harris, please score. That is all I'm asking. It's just like if they score, then I don't see a spot where the Magic aren't like a top 4 or 5 team in the East. So, final team in the playoff section, Phoenix Suns. If Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant stay healthy all year, then I don't see how they don't end up being like a 4 seed, 5 seed, 3 seed even. They're so good. They have such balanced scoring ability. Yusuf Nurkic is buying into that team more and more every day, and that's incredible to see. The fact that the NBA let them get Tyus Jones is a crime, because he's too good. He is too good to just say like, oh yeah, hey, you're gonna go to the Suns with like 3 of the best scoring players in the league or anything, but like what was their issue? They needed ball security. What was their issue? They needed a playmaker. They literally got the number 1 guy in the league at assist to turnover ratio over the last couple of years, so solve that problem. Ryan Dunn looks great so far. He had a possession where he locked up LeBron and was so hyped about it, and I don't blame him. Question and concern. The rest of the bench is not that great. Who's going to step up? Grayson Allen is coming off the bench this year. And I'll also just, can we not let the injury bug go to Phoenix this year? That's all I'm asking. Anyway. Tier 2, conference finals. New York Knicks. Really bad game 1. Not a great showing against another team that is in this tier last night. I think that will come with time, though. They have all the pieces. My concern is their bench depth. Losing DiVincenzo, losing Randall. Sure, getting Cat in return is great, but in terms of a depth perspective, that is a tough look to have a situation of like, hey, we just lost a player kind of thing. And I understand the value of Cat and like what he does. Also, with Mitchell Robinson being out and losing Isaiah Hartenstein, it's kind of just Cat right now in terms of like a true big. Like, I understand Jericho Sims, but like, you're gonna go into the playoffs with Jericho Sims? Really? No, you're not. So, yeah, it's just in that regard, I see the fact that in terms of talent, they're the second most talented team in the league in terms of just like player rankings, I'd say. Very, very strong defensive players with Anunoby and Mikal and Josh Hart, and then great scoring from Brunson and Mikal and Cat. But it will be interesting. It will be interesting to see how they all gel. Deuce McBride, low key. Actually, no, not even low key. I might have him as my most improved player pick. If he is the only person coming off of their bench, then I would hope so. But anyway, number 2, the Mavs. Yeah, I was wrong about Clay. I let 0 for 10 in the playing game get to my head too much. He's pretty damn good. No, he's so good. And I heard a rumor that if Giannis leaves Milwaukee, he wants to go to Dallas, which I'm going to say it. That team would probably win like 3 championships and like probably be the team of the 2020s if it ends up being like everybody thought like, I'm scared that it's going to be like a Celtics or the Heat of the 2010s, but the real team of the 2010s was the Warriors, and I'm scared that that's what the Mavericks might become. Anyway, but we'll worry about that later. We are in the now. Yeah, the Mavs. They're a very good team. Adding Clay solved the one thing that they needed help with, which was 3-point shooting, especially in clutch time, performance-based. PJ Washington has not played well. Derek Jones Jr. did not play well. Josh Green did not. Josh Green was solid. But it was mainly DJJ and PJ. They got Klay Thompson. They got one of the best shooters of all time. Top 5 shooter of all time. And I am sorry to Mavs fans. I was wrong. And Luka and Kyrie, I think you can win 90% of games. It's not a bad spot to be in. Next team, the Cavs. I literally have the Bucks and the Cavs like with an arrow, basically switching spots. I had the Bucks originally in conference final spot, and then I had the Cavs in playoff spot. The Cavs are currently undefeated and looking really good. Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell found out how to work with one another, and Evan Mobley is becoming like a stretch four, kind of, whenever he and Jared Allen play together. It's great to see. They're a crazy talented team, very good defensively. I can't remember who is their coach. Kenny Atkinson. I'm a huge Kenny Atkinson fan. I'm gonna say it. Surprisingly, a very underrated coach. I thought he got a bad rep when he was in Brooklyn, but now he has experience with working with Steve Kerr and his philosophy, bringing that over to Cleveland, who is a team that very much was like one dimensional in terms of offense, like primary offense. It was just give it to Donovan and let him move. Now they look like a flowing team, and they look great. I have nightmares of that Dean Wade game against the Celtics, but that's beyond the point. I don't really care. Big fan of the Cavs. Final team in the conference finals, the Wolves. I would have had this team much higher on conference finals tier almost because of just like if the cat move didn't happen. And I know this concern is going to be alleviated because it was the first game. That offense looked very clunky. No spacing, really. Rudy Gobert does not provide really any offense. Obviously, the importance of him on defense is vital. And that's great to see. The question is, will Julius Randle be able to get the ball out of his hand? So if he understands, like, hey, like, if he makes the extra pass, I'd say like 33% of the time, then I think they will win much more ball games than they will lose. They are, on talent, on paper, one of the most talented teams in the league. Having a collection of guards with Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, Dante DiVincenzo, Rob Dillingham, and Terrence Shannon Jr., with Jaden McDaniels and I guess Terrence Shannon Jr. being like your wings, and then having big men of Julius Randle, Naz Reid, with centers of Luka Garza and Rudy Gobert. I'm sorry. That is a undeniably good team. It is just chemistry. It is just they have to get the flow going. So top seeds, final section. Thunder. I kind of talked about it at the beginning of this episode. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is arguably top point guard in the league. Jalen Williams is becoming one of the best two guards in the league. And Chet Holmgren has an agenda this year to become Defensive Player of the Year, which I'm completely fine with. Chet Holmgren, I think, is going to be the thing that the person that sets him up, that puts him over the top. And it's really good to see. He is so talented. He is such a good player. And that is important to have when you have such great guard play. You need that dynamic. But he also has the dynamic to shoot, and he's so good. Isaiah Hartenstein was also, I think, the signing of the summer. In terms of team need, everybody said they don't have a big man. Other than Chet, they don't have a big man. What did they do? They said, Sam Presti said, okay, I got money. Gave it to Isaiah Hartenstein, and now has a great perimeter or interior threat for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And that is incredible to see. Like, the Thunder are such a fun team to watch. Shai is so good at shot creating for others. Alex Caruso was one of the best trades, I'd say, in a while, in terms of just like non-blockbuster trade almost. But like in terms of a role and fitting need, that was awesome. Just the Thunder are so good, so well coached defensively. I still don't know how to say his name. Davenport. If somebody is listening and knows how to say it, please text me or DM me, whatever. Just a very good team. Very much see them. I have them coming out of the West. Question is offensive side. They have not been shooting the ball well. They have won all their games, but it's just offensively, let's get it going. Other than just Shai and Jalen, that is. Will Aaron Wiggins come into play? Will Wallace come into play? It's like these are the keys. So, number one, the Celtics, defending champs. I could ramble on about the Celtics all day, but I'm going to just do that in my blogs. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have an agenda. They have a revenge tour. In fact, the first really big stop is November 6th when the Golden State Warriors come to Boston, which sadly I don't think Steph will be playing because of his injury from last night, which sucks. Or from 2 nights ago. Can't remember exactly. Again, Tuesday, October 9th currently. Just had 2 awesome first games against the Knicks and the Wizards, and then just like 2 gritty wins against the Pistons and the Bucks, which I know people are going to be like, oh, but you only beat the Pistons. These are NBA players we're talking about. We're not talking about like the Celtics playing a high school team and losing. We're talking professional athletes who get paid a lot of money to do this for a living and are really good at this. The whole Brian Scalabrine quote of I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me is 100% true. Teams are good. Teams have gotten better. The Celtics know that they have a target on their back, and they've gotten the wins so far to prove like, hey, we are going to beat you with our best player from 3. We are going to beat you from 3 as a team. If somebody is slacking, we have another guy who's going to pick it up. Peyton Pritchard had 28 last night, 8 of 12 from 3. By the way, we also don't have Kristaps Porzingis. So, biggest question for them: health. Can they stay healthy? And also, mentality. I know that's like a weird one to have because Joe Mazzulla is like a drill sergeant and is just like when he was asked about like the court, like what does the court taste like? He was like, it tastes like blood. It's like, oh my God. Like, how can you not root for a guy like that? But still, just what's going to I guess another question is, what's going to happen if the 3-point shot isn't falling? Is it going to be like, okay, we're fine with losing this one kind of thing? But it is what it is. So just to reiterate, Tier 7, capture the flag. Nets, Wizards, Blazers, Pistons. Tier 6, high lottery. The Hornets, Hawks, Jazz, Raptors, Spurs. Fringe, Bulls, Clippers. The play-in tier, Heat, Warriors, Rockets, Pelicans, Pacers, and Kings. Playoffs tier, Nuggets, Bucks, 76ers, Lakers, Grizzlies, Magic, Suns. The conference finals tier, the Knicks, the Mavs, the Cavs, and the Wolves, top seeds, Thunder, and Celtics. I know this was a long episode, very much the first one, but moving forward, if you have questions, please reach out to me. If you like it, please comment, please like and subscribe. If you are listening to this on Spotify, I appreciate it. If you're listening to this on whatever podcast service you use, that'd be great. If you're watching this on YouTube, I appreciate you. I understand it is boring to just look at one guy in a screen. For the first couple of episodes, I plan on just doing this by myself. After that, I have some friends who I know like talking basketball, and I know that they would enjoy this for some time. So it's as simple as that. I'm going to leave it with this. My top 5 players in the league. Number 1, Nikola Jokic. Number 2, Luka Doncic. Number 3, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Number 4, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And number 5, Jason Tatum. Simple as that. It's as simple as that. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. Please check out thedropstep.com. Great blog. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Any tips as well. I hope you have an incredible day. And go Celtics.